Okay, it's time to practice what I preach. For a couple weeks now, I've been working outside of Lewis County, which is just south of Olympia here in Washington State. We've got this beautiful, beautiful area on the way out to the coast. And I've been passing the same sign that I see almost every day when I'm out here. And it just says trails with an arrow. How do you not want to stop and see what that's all about? So that's what we're doing today. Okay, some of these trees are just massive. I can't even begin to guess how old they are. This particular forest that I'm in is part of the Rainbow Falls State Park. So it's not actually in the campground itself, it's on the other side of the river, another side of a very noisy road that you can probably hear in the background. But man, what a beautiful forest. Just can't get enough of this. Well, I hope that was the right direction for the sign. I was on, I believe, called Woodpecker, which is supposed to loop around to the Deer Trail. I saw that one when I first entered the park. So if I'm doing this right, we're going to just make a big loop of the park. The fun part is, when I saw this trail system, I opened up my Onyx app and I searched for trails in this particular area. You can zoom in on the trail map. Then I downloaded an offline version. That's going to give me kind of that security and safety backup just in case the trail markings aren't exactly clear. And obviously I've never been out here before, so I could just wander around in circles for hours. But if I need to, I'll pull up that offline map. Be a nice little guide. That looks to have been a pretty fresh windfall tree. Had some decent storms this year, so there's a lot of downed trees in a lot of the local forests. Oh, and this is probably one of the sketchiest bridges I've seen in a long time. So let's wish me luck. That's not too bad. Well, I talk a lot about unplanned adventures and the amazing therapeutic power of nature. Then ironically, I spend most of my time in an office or behind a steering wheel. And I don't get nearly enough time out here in nature and to practice what I preach, to soak up the beauty all around me and get a little bit of nature therapy off the clock. And this is exactly what I needed today. This park is beautiful. So far I've got maybe 2 miles of trail under my belt. I think I've only started to just barely scratch the surface of what's out here. I've found 4 different trails so far, but I'm sure there's a lot more. Just a perfect day and a great way to end a busy work day. Remember the storms I talked about, how there was a lot of windfall trees? Here's an example. Make this look nice and graceful for you. So, obviously, one of the casualties of this winter's storms. Oh, and we've lost our trail. It looks like the trail used to come through here. Maybe not. And this is why we download the offline maps. Okay, so here's my curiosity. Obviously there's a creek that's flowing through here, but there's some form of a concrete structure that used to be here. And the creek, it looks like, has been diverted around it, but over time it's started to erode the concrete. If anybody knows what this was, leave some information down in the comments. I'm really curious. Again, I'm at the Rainbow Falls State Park, and obviously there was something here at some point in time. And it's a nice concrete foundation. Looks like maybe the foundation of a building or potentially a small dam. I have no idea. But yeah, again, if you know, leave some information in the comments. I'd be really curious. Okay, so now I'm even more curious what the concrete structures are, because this is a full-on one. It's got a vent cap and it looks like an access panel. I'm down from that creek maybe 300-400 yards. So again, if anybody knows what this is, I'd be really curious to find out. So, I love it when you run into these random things. We have a problem. I forgot my snacks in the truck. Oh no. No. Oop. Never mind. Crisis diverted. I might have something. I talk about always making sure I pack enough food and snacks, but I left my carrot sitting in the truck. I've got backups though. So I think you guys know by now that I like my snacks. So this has been an awesome little excursion hike. Again, I've only put a couple of miles on, and I'm not too far off the beaten path, because you can probably hear traffic in the background and the occasional airplane overhead. The forest backs up against some logging areas. So that spot earlier where I ran out a trail, you could see just beyond the tree line that there was a new growth forest, which tells me it's one of the managed forests in this area. This part, obviously, being a state park, is under the Conservancy, so it's not going to be logged anytime soon. But it obviously had something here at some point in time. But for us, it's just a beautiful park. I'm glad I had emergency food. But here's something fun. Every trail marker has a different name. So anytime I come to a crossroad, the sign has a completely different name than when I started the trail. So I actually have no idea how many different trails there could possibly be out here in the park. I'm following the sound of traffic, which tells me I'm probably getting close to the end of today's adventure. And folks, there's no great insight on this one. I just wanted to share an afternoon out in the forest, practicing what I preach and getting a little bit of nature therapy. I hope you do the same thing. Get a little motivated, get outside, go find yourself an adventure. And above all else, have a great day. We'll see you next time. There's the carrot.